All right, good evening, friends. We are live on bourbonblog.com. In a few minutes, we're going to be doing the broadcast with my good friend George Ramey from Camacho Cigars. I'm already having one myself. I'm going to make sure I'm all lit up here with all these cigars. I see Avo's just joined. Thank you, Avo. Form a cause. Lots of great people joining. And we're big fans of the Camacho. Glad to be having George join us tonight. Peerless has just joined us. Lots of great friends joining us. So many great friends have joined us that we may just end up not restarting. We may just stay right here and go live altogether. Peerless, look what we have right here. Oh, there's George now. I think George is joining. Here comes George.
What's happening?
George, how's it going, buddy?
Everything good, brother. How about you?
Good, good. Looks like we already have Avo and some friends from Peerless and all kinds of great people already joining us. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, you sound good. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you good. Can you see me well?
I can see you. And since we have so many great people already joining us, I think we may just stay right here and just continue to talk until 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern hits and just keep on rolling with it.
Perfect. Sounds good, man.
Awesome. I'm getting all 4 of these lit, so I'll have them ready to go to talk about.
Oh Lord, I'm gonna start working on number 1. You may remember this one. So the American Barrel-Aged.
Is that where you want to start? Is American Barrel-Aged?
The Torpedo Largo. Sure.
Yeah, we could do this. Let's start with American Barrel-Aged here, and then I have the Distillery Edition and the NBA as well. So
perfect. You have Distillery, NBA. I don't have here with me outside, but we still, we got plenty. Let me see. I have all 3 distilleries, so we should be all right.
Yeah, the distilleries are so nice. I'm really enjoying those so much.
Oh yeah, man. That's that one we came out with it probably a couple of years now, and it's basically the same core blend. We just wanted it's a core blend with a twist, we like to call it, right? So basically the distillery, it's the same blend as the core Camacho, Connecticut, Corojo, and Ecuador. Just that we added a twist by aging part of the filler, which is 6-year-old Corojo, in bourbon barrels, in bourbon barrels. Yeah, for 6 months on this one. So, you're familiar a little bit about it because, we did the NBA versus ABA. And that one was 5 months in bourbon barrels as well. And but this one, it was an interesting project, and people are loving it.
Such nice stuff. All of it's so good. Lots of great people joining us. Thanks for joining us, Salvador, and again our great friends from Avo over there as well, and Peerless. And we got our Peerless back here. I brought a little plantation rum out. We're gonna do a little pairing, and as George was just telling you, I was lucky enough to do some fun work with a campaign, really a debate that went across the country called the Camacho Throwdown.
Right,
a year or 2 ago. David Rose and I went back and forth. I represented the American Barrel-Aged, and Chef David Rose did the Nicaugraga Barrel-Aged, and we had a match every night, didn't we, George?
Yeah, we even took it international. Remember we went down to Honduras?
That's right. Well, that was amazing. We had a great time in Honduras at Camp Camacho. And we just found all kinds of great spirits to pair with these cigars. And these cigars, George, are some of the best cigars in the world to pair with, whether it's a cocktail, whether it's bourbon,
correct,
rum. Tell us what inspired the very first one you guys did was the ABA, right?
The ABA, so basically we wanted to get into the barrel aging process, and that's why, for example, the ABA, the American Barrel Age, is it's still to this day, it's made in the Dominican Republic, right, in our Davidoff factory over there.
Yeah.
Just because they had a little bit more experience when it came to barrel aging. So this one wasn't back in 2015. And, funny thing about this one, about 95% of the cigar is American tobacco, right? So American broadleaf, Pennsylvania broadleaf and stuff. And it's got that 6-year-old Corojo that we age into bourbon barrels. So this is probably one of the most aggressive launches, and it picked up traction. We also followed it with a road tour. I was doing a national road tour I think that one, I mean, I've done 3. That one we did probably, I believe it was like 50, 55 accounts around the
Nice.
country. Around the country.
You were on a bike, weren't you?
Well, no. So I had, it was man, it's crazy. Some stories with that. So I had a big Ford dually, right, with a 32-foot trailer in the back, toy trailer.
Right.
And then I had a couple motorcycles inside, and then some product glorifiers, and then we had the high striker. We had what else did we have? We had a cornhole, a bunch of things. So basically, I was a rolling party, right? And I would, come to the account and set up the, the whole playground for our customers, and kind of like, go. We had a little bar as well, and then the entire road tour was based around bourbons, right? So you can imagine I had every single bourbon from each little area that I was going to, So I was fortunate enough to get to try a lot of bourbons. But basically, so this Camacho was the first one that we venture off into the barrel aging process, and just to make sure that it was done right, we did it in the Dominican Republic. Now NBA, that one is it's made in Honduras, because we mastered the process already.
And it was such a great launch, and then just so much fun working with you guys, showcasing great bourbons and whiskeys like the Peerless. We showcased those a couple years ago with this cigar in the Camacho Throwdown. And for anybody watching later on, just Google search Camacho Throwdown. You'll see some fun videos. George,
yeah,
we had just all
fun.
kinds of fun. But what I continued to see every night we would do this was the way that the whiskey would amplify, or the cocktail, or even the rum would amplify the flavor characteristics in this, because it already has touched that bourbon barrel.
It's got a spark. You're just adding the fire, basically. It's got a little spark. Exactly. Yeah.
Just making it come alive. And when we were in Honduras with you at Camp Camacho and touring Camacho, we actually got to see the inside of that barrel that's agitated weeks and weeks for 5 months. It's a serious process to get all that flavor out of the barrel, right?
And then you saw it, and we used the barrels 2 times before they were retired. But you saw the process. It takes about 3 guys to come in and open up the barrels, switch the tobacco around, so that everything hits the center, the core of the bale, which is inside the barrel. So it has that fermentation process that I would normally have outside in the big the pilones, right? So that process, and once you open up that barrel that's been sitting there for a couple of weeks unopened, that first whiff that you get is just it's outstanding, man. It's one of my favorite parts, and I've done it many times. Every time that I go down to Honduras, they look at me like, you want to show the guests the barrels? I'm like, yes, please get it.
Yes, it's always a good time.
Yeah, so they gotta call the guys that are in charge of that, and open it up and show our guests, and everybody's like impressed. It's like those leaves, like, I don't know, you may want to take a bite out of them. They smell so good.
Oh, it's the aromas when we put our heads, Dave and I did, in those barrels are just incredible. And you just know that because we see a lot of things barrel aged in this industry. We have whiskeys that are finished in wine barrels, and then sometimes they'll put coffee beans in barrels. With that tobacco, George, goes in that barrel. The aromas, just the way it comes together with those very complementary flavors already. The earth, the sugar, onto the tobacco. It just makes such a fantastic cigar.
And especially with Corojo, right? So Corojo's got that peppery, leathery, earthy flavor profile to it, and this complements very well.
Yes.
The bourbon aspect.
Have you poured some bourbon already?
No. So I have. Let me see. I have. I brought some little extras, and then
we got the right glasses.
Oh, so these are the ones that I had on tour as well. So
those are the right ones.
It's the right one, yeah. All right. So should I do the Peerless bourbon? All right.
Yeah, let's start with the bourbon.
Okay.
And we have some great bourbon. If you hold that one up, George, to show everybody what you got there. You have some great bourbon from Peerless. Our friends there at Peerless, Kentucky Peerless Distilling Company in Louisville, Kentucky. This bourbon has been well awarded as one of, really the top bourbon of last year. And really, it's one of our favorite bourbons. The distillery, George, had not made any bourbon for 102 years, and then they brought back the brand 5-6 years ago, and I think you're going to love this.
Nice. Let's see.
Let's give it a taste.
Let's give it a taste.
We get the best of both worlds on a Friday night, don't we?
I know, man.
Cheers, George.
I know,
good to see you.
Same here, brother.
Cheers.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. How you like that?
This is tasty.
Yeah.
This is tasty.
Yes.
This
And
is
big
tasty.
proof. I love the proof on this.
Yeah, it's
barrel proof.
It's
Right around 109 proof, so it's barrel proof. Everything Peerless does is barrel proof. This is a little over 4 years old. It is one of the only bourbons in the country that is a sweet mash fermentation, non-chill filtered. And this is, George, why I thought tonight, this is a bold cigar, right? As you guys say, live loud and come
Yeah.
on. This is a live loud kind of bold, beautiful
I can
bourbon.
taste it.
Yeah.
I can taste it. That's awesome.
So let's see what happens when you, what tasting notes do you get on this cigar? Just if you're just having the cigar by itself, what do you usually get?
Wood notes, some, a little bit of spiciness, some oak, basically. I don't know, maybe a little bit of sweetness as well,
Yes.
It's got a little bit of Corojo in it, so this one, you taste a little bit of, and the combination, I get a little bit of spice, but very subtle.
Yes.
Right? Very subtle. I like to do also this, I don't know if you ever tried this, but.
Yeah. Let's see it. Oh, yeah.
So it's what I call smoke your bourbon. So I leave it there for a few seconds.
Yeah,
and
let that happen.
And that kind of like brings...
We're making like a smoked cocktail here, aren't we?
Yeah, but the difference is that you're actually getting the smoke, the combustion, the smoke out of the cigar, and then putting it into your spirit. This is bourbon,
love that.
right?
And then when you nose it, it's a lot of fun.
No, and then because usually you get the little oak, at the bars when they have on the smoke old fashioned, you get a little bit of smoke, but this of burned wood smoke. But this is literally just a combustion, and then you putting it in there, and I think it brings down the intensity. I've been able to. I've had trouble trying to explain just the feeling of this, how it brings down the taste.
Right. Oh yeah.
You can't really tell, but it's just smoking.
No, it's beautiful. It's a way just to really influence that bourbon. And one of the things I love about the Peerless bourbon is it has that kind of salted caramel note to it, which as I was tasting it with the cigar, I was getting kind of that creamy caramel note on the cigar.
Now it's funny that you mentioned that. Yes, there's a lot of caramel now. This combination that just happened, it brings it down. The sweetness came out. This is good.
Well, that Corojo tobacco from Camacho is really something very special and that has a real history to it. Tell us about what makes the Corojo so special from Camacho.
Yeah, so the Corojo in general back in Cuba, right? It was what made Cuban cigars famous in its heyday. Right. So later on, prior to the revolution, so basically the tobacco growers fled with carrying their seeds, right? And then those seeds were taken to different areas of Mesoamerica, and they were planted. And in some areas, the Corojo, it's very picky where it likes to yield. Where it's going to have its highest yield. So. And they ended up in certain areas, which this area, it's the valleys of Jamastran and Jalapa Valley, for example, in between Honduras and Nicaragua, right? And that's where pretty much it yields at its best, the plant, right? About 95-96% of the plant.
Right.
And then Camacho, it uses the original seeds that were that's pretty much what made Cuban cigars famous in that flavor profile. So and I tell, because my father is 91, right? So he's been smoking. Yeah, he's been smoking for I don't know. He told me today about 55 years or something like that.
Oh,
so he got to try quite a bit. he got to try. When I explained to him, oh, the Corojo, blah blah blah, and the whole story, he's like, yeah, this is very funny because the Camacho Corojo, for example, is one of his favorite cigars, right? Still to this day, he puffs on his cigars, has a little bit of wine and stuff. And then he was explaining the flavor profile is very similar to the Cubans, right? And then I explained to him a little bit because at 91, you don't get on Google to check and this and stuff. It's just, and it reminded him that flavor profile, right? The spiciness, that blast of pepper, and yeah, basically that's what makes our cigars unique. And all of our Camacho cigars have a Corojo in them, right? There was one that was a limited edition that actually I was walking around the warehouse the other day and I saw it. It was the Camacho Nicaragua shellback. It was a limited edition of the shellback, right? So that one had all Nicaraguan tobacco. That was the only one that I can remember that did not have any Corojo in it. So basically that's the DNA of the brand, right? So every one of them, no matter if you're smoking Criollo, any of the distilleries, any of the core, Triple Maduro, NBA, ABA, they all have Corojo in it, right? Because it has that little signature kick flavor to it, and that's what makes our cigars unique. And so we put that tobacco in there because it has that signature Camacho taste to it.
Yeah, it has that signature. Many people saying that this is something, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's as close to a Cuban as you can get without being a Cuban, with that history of Cuba, with something altogether unique and so special.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. So for those of you just joining us, we're talking with my good friend George Ramey. He is the ambassador for Camacho Cigars. And if you have any questions for George, or you want to tell us what you're either drinking, smoking, or both, or one of your favorite Camacho cigars, tell us down below. Someone said it pairs really. Tom says it pairs really well with a Sazerac. It does. I love a good.
Yes, I have tried that pairing. I have tried that pairing. I think it was I think it was at Knoxville, Tennessee, if I'm not wrong, that I got to try that that pairing.
When there's depth to those cocktails too, when there's a little absinthe or some vermouth, when those cocktails go deeper, and we even had some sherry finished, I think it was Breckenridge bourbon that we had in Vegas when we showcased this.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Some of that stuff really brought up some of those other flavors to showcase. This is a perfect, not only bourbon cigar, but it's cocktail. It's great with cocktails.
Oh man, that's awesome. But what stayed in my mind, it was the first the first time that I had tried it with you. It was that plantation rum.
Oh
yeah! Wow! And the story behind it. I mean, I know we don't have a little bit tonight. Do you have it? Oh,
I do.
Refresh my memory into
that in a moment.
Yeah, I don't have. I gotta get a few more. So what's the story behind this plantation rum, for example?
Yes, someone just said they're trying the Camacho Ecuador for tonight, which is great. The plantation rum starts its life in where does it start its life? Let's make sure I have this right. It is in South America, and then it goes to France to actually have those flavors settle themselves down. So it's actually finished in not used but new cognac barrels.
And that's what caught my eye. Yeah,
rum. Then it goes to France, to actually the cognac region, and the flavors of the new cognac barrels settle that flavor down to actually give you more elegant flavors. So we have
that was outstanding.
The XO, and then I have some of the pineapple rum behind me, but it's a great pairing. You and I remember the first night I got to the Camp Camacho, we really finished off a bottle of the rum there, and
we paid for it the next day.
We did.
Man. Oh Lord, those hangovers. And I think that was the day that we went to the farm.
To the farm, right?
I don't know. I think David probably sweat maybe 2 gallons, right?
Yeah.
Before him, everybody was like, "Oh my God, it was so hot. It was humid."
It was a very, very hot day. We had a lot of fun though. If you guys are interested, definitely check out the Camp Camacho experience. I mean, tell us a little bit about the Camp Camacho experience.
So Camp Camacho, right? We took pretty much a 10-year hiatus, right? And we relaunched it back, I would say 3 years ago, because we did a couple of test runs in 2016, preparing it. But the basically the main thing is that our factory was not ready, right? You
Right.
remember our factory is brand new. The factory is about 3 years old. It's a beautiful building. The whole compound is outstanding, right? So that was the idea when Oettinger Davidoff purchased Camacho, is to build our own factory and you know, up to our standards, and you know, and have a compound in it, right? That was delayed a little bit, like any other construction. And then finally back in 2017, it was open, right? And that's when we had we started taking some people. You guys went down there as well. So Camp Camacho, basically, it's a live loud experience, right? It's a 4-day, 3-night experience that we fly into Tegus. We go to the compound. You know, we have dinners, cigar seminars where you get to blend your own cigar. And actually, we changed it up a little bit to where you actually get to taste just individual cylinders with all the tobacco for your blending knowledge.
Fun.
Yeah. And then the next day we tour the farms, and then we have lunch, and we've added it's like we go to another farm where we have horseback riding. There's pretty much we kind of build a small shooting range and stuff, and then we roll around in a tractor. So it's a very cool experience. And then the next day we go to the factory. And then we go and tour around the city of Danli, right? In this little train.
Beautiful city.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's very quaint, you know. And then the next day, yeah, if everybody survived, we make it to the airport. That the only problem that I see that it's just tedious, right? And some of our guests are like, oh man, this is a little crazy. It's just the drive, right? That drive from Tegus to Danli, it's a good 2.5 hours. It's tough, you know. That's the only thing that I wish it was a little bit closer. But other than that, it's a great experience, right? Unfortunately,
well, you made the drive really nice. It was a nice little party van or bus. It was nice. It was a good time.
And that's the whole idea of it. So we make sure we have enough beers and you know, and food and stuff like that, so it makes the ride a little bit more you know, comfortable. But unfortunately, you know, we had to pretty much shut down the camp halfway through its life this year, because obviously the situation, right? This whole COVID-19, just for kind of, and this happened, I think it was the last week of February, if I'm not wrong. So before the whole mayhem started, I was able to do 3 trips out of the 7 that I had scheduled. So we canceled it a while, you know, before the whole madness happened. So I am actually very glad that we did that. Just for everybody's safety, right?
Sure.
Keep our guests safe, and also our factory, right? You see how big that operation is, and as we're walking around the rolling floor, it was just a risk that we couldn't take, right? But hopefully we will come back, definitely next year, right? But there's always an opportunity that we can come back or take some influencers or you know, some sort of rebuild a camp probably by the end of the year, because we start planting in October. So we have, I don't recall when this is that we went with you guys, but we start planting in last week of October. So we have, you know, let's say we go, you know, in October, November, we would have something. But that's something that's I'm just speculating. It may not happen, but it is a possibility, right? And I was just so excited because we've tuned it up. Let's just say the camp is not what it used to be. It's very cool now.
It's been amplified.
Yes, definitely.
I can't wait to be back there with you again, George. It'll give us something to look forward to during the quarantine, to know that will be coming, and we'll all be traveling again soon. Of course, we're thinking of all those, especially those folks tonight that are on the front lines.
On the front lines. Yes,
those people in the medical profession, all those helping in whatever way you're helping, whoever you are. Thank you for that. We're raising a toast to you tonight, and bartenders that are out of work. Everybody. I mean, you're in Miami, or whereabouts are you right now?
No, so I moved to Tampa 1 year ago.
You're in Tampa right now.
Yes, I moved to Tampa 1 year ago.
What's the scene like right now in Tampa?
Desolated, man. There's not much going on, right? And I've been stuck at home. It's the 12th? Yeah, probably, you know, this is probably the 4th week already that we've been working from home. But it's dead everywhere you go. All the parks are closed. We had to cancel a couple of, personal events that I was going to have here in my house, unfortunately. It's just, and then when you go to the grocery store, people are wearing their mask and all that. So it's crazy. I walk around with my girl around the neighborhood. You see people when they're coming maybe half a block away, we cross or they cross to the other side so that we don't collide, basically. And it's just, 3 months ago, it would have been a rude thing, but now it's like, oh, thank you. Thanks. It's just, this has changed our way of life, and it'll shape our future, especially these type of interactions, right?
Right.
It's just, look at us now. We're here. Sharing with all our viewers and stuff.
Hopefully we're bringing everybody closer together. That's part of why we started this quarantine drinking team series a few weeks ago. We're so glad to have you tonight, and everybody who's joining us. Again, down below, if you have any questions for George, you want to talk about cigars.
Let me see.
Tell us, somebody said they love the Imperial Stout.
The Imperial Stout, yeah, that's a great one that we did with Cigar Dojo.
Are you going to do more of those? Or is that kind of a...
I think we had done 2 rounds. There may be a third one in the works. I'm not quite sure. When I was down in the factory, we didn't have any yet, already produced. But it's a project that has been very successful, and why not? So it's just a matter of ironing out some little details. But yeah, that one that one is a winner. I love that one. I think I have they came in bundles. But I still have a few of those in my humidor.
Still have some of those in stock for the quarantine, right?
Yeah.
Look,
I have so many cigars.
Everybody who knows what a great cigar Camacho is, look at that ash on that. I mean, it's how beautiful that is. Your
I ash probably like about half an inch of mine, but it's the
beautiful ash.
Of these, it's amazing.
We actually at Camp Camacho got to roll our own. We got to make our own signature blend and create the blend, but also practice rolling them too, which was a lot of fun.
And now you understand that it's not very easy to do that. No, it's an art, man. It's an art, and I've tried to do it myself a few times. I'm no pro, right? And no, and just okay. Bunching it's very difficult, right? But then rolling the wrapper onto the cigar, the actual binder and filler, it's very hard because you expect it, just by nature. You see a cigar, you want it to be super smooth, right? No veins, no, imperfections or something. But when you go and try to do it yourself, I've done it, a handful of times, and it's very hard, right?
Yes.
So it makes you appreciate the art, right? The 300 sets of hands that go through your cigars, just making sure that the tobacco, it's a good 5-year period of time, and the 170 steps to make sure that the cigar arrives in a perfect condition. It's very tedious, man. It's an art that I have huge respect for our rollers and bunchers and also the people at the farm, right?
Yeah.
That's halfway. Once you harvest and you take them into the curing barns, if you mess up that process, you just lost all the time that you spend in harvesting, right? And then after it, that's pre-industry, and then from there it has to be perfect, right? And then it goes to the factory, and then the second part of the process starts. It's a very nice thing to see. We've both been blessed on with the fact of going down there and see everything from the seeds to the plants when they're a week old, 2 weeks, 60 days, and the plant grows very fast. Those suckers grow very fast, and it's just beautiful to see. And I was able to see it pretty often when I would go, and because I would go every week, and you see, oh yeah, we planted this with group 1, right? And it's already been 3 weeks, and the plant's already growing. We don't use those for production, but it's just good to see for the groups that come. It's like, oh, that's what group number 1 planted, right?
Right.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I love it down there.
It takes many years to go to make this cigar, just like a good bourbon, getting the grains, aging them. These cigars, the leaves in these are how old whenever they go into those barrels?
So the what goes in the barrels, it's the Corojo, and the Corojo is at least 5 years old.
At least 5 years old. So this is
At
kind of like
least
a good
5 years
bourbon.
old. Yes, at least
At
five
least
years old.
5 years old, then
Yeah,
goes into those barrels for another
yeah.
5 to 6 months, depending upon which it is. So
Yeah.
this is some real time that has gone into making this cigar. And someone just asked, are you all thinking about maybe doing any port barrel or cognac finishes? Any other finishes maybe on the horizon that you guys have thought about? Or
Not that I'm aware of. Right? Not that I'm aware of.
right,
I think this is. I don't know. I think we're gonna stick for this this bourbon
the
combination
bourbon and the
for a little
distillery edition,
while.
the rum.
For a little while,
Yep,
unfortunately, the FDA, which has slowed down now, has tried to get into our business and regulate things. So it's not as easy as
right.
before
I
to come out
understand.
with something new,
Yeah,
right? So if you have an experiment that sounds really cool, there's a lot of paperwork and legwork and a lot of a huge process behind it.
right.
Um,
A lot went into this,
yeah.
just creating
So
this.
no.
Someone did say someone Guerra said as if there's a
Yeah,
secret.
that's Eddie Guerra.
Oh, that's Eddie. Oh, that's Eddie. Okay.
That's Eddie.
Hey,
Yeah,
Eddie,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening?
Eddie, you know Eddie.
A lot of great folks joining us from all over the country and all over the world, and we're thinking of great people like Manuel and those great folks that I met at Camacho.
Barbara,
Of
Barbara is
course,
the
yes,
one that puts everything together down there.
yes,
And back in the
raising it
day was Barbara and Lynn that helped us
right.
put everything together. Yeah,
A lot of
Lynn says
great
hello, by
people
the way.
that we get to. Oh, thank you. Hello to
Hmm.
her and everybody. And Honduras was so much fun. Hey, let's talk about Honduras a little bit. But should we move to? Do we want to do the Corojo Distillery? What would you like to do next, George?
Yes, let's do that.
Corojo Distillery. We'll talk about the distillery because when I first tried this, I mean, I was obviously always blown away by the ABA and NBA. But when I got to try this with you guys in Vegas last year, I was like, this just takes it to a different level and gives something special and unique. And for all those ABA fans and NBA fans, they got to try this if they haven't already. I love this.
Yeah, and then which one are you gonna light up? The Corojo? Yeah.
Do the Corojo, yes.
Yeah. So
And
this
I
one is
might
it's a
actually,
Honduran Puro, right? So this entire cigar is Honduran tobacco,
right.
Honduran Corojo, and then
It's a Puro.
yes, yeah, that's what like in Spanish people call them puros, right?
The
And then
Puro is 100%. This
it
whole
has to be 100% from the country of origin. The 100% of the cigar has to be from the same country for it to be a puro, which is obviously translate to puro. It translates to pure in English. That's
just for fun. I tell you what, George, for fun, let's try some. You have some of the Peerless Rye, and
okay.
again, we're trying tonight some great Peerless whiskeys, both the rye and the bourbon from our good friends in Kentucky. Peerless in Louisville,
I
Kentucky.
love the
You got
bottle.
that? All right.
I love the
Let's try a
the
little
bottle.
rye with this. I think that's going to amplify the flavor and accentuate in a nice way. And Peerless is joining us. A lot of great friends are joining us. If you are joining us live, watching, or if you're joining us later, make sure you share this. Let all your friends know. We're having a cigar and whiskey and rum pairing tonight. George and I come join us and drink and smoke along with us. And tell us what you're drinking below. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Let's try it out.
It is this. The smell is not as intense, right? Compared to the other one. I like it.
Right.
Let's see. I'm gonna try it before I do my little smoke experiment. Oh, yes, I gotta light
cheers.
up the smoke. Hold on. Cheers, my man.
And I see Peerless down below toasting to us. Thank you, Peerless.
Awesome.
This is such a good whiskey.
All right, you feel it in the back of your palate, right?
Nice warming, a little butterscotch, some nice chocolate, some cacao, some butterscotch, real buttery note, just really beautiful whiskey. It is spicy like some ryes, but very balanced with the fruit, with the earth, and again, barrel strength.
No, I'm usually not I rather go with bourbons instead of ryes, right? But this one, wow. I'm pretty impressed. When I saw it, I'm like, let's give it a try. I thought I was gonna get that flavor that I usually don't like, but no. But this one is really good. It's in the back of your palate that you feel it, right? It's not
so
overpowering. Nice. What's still the same proof and everything on this one? No, it's a little bit different.
What's that?
The proof on this one.
Right around 109 proof. They're both barrel proof.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, one thing about the Kentucky Peerless, George, is they put it in the barrel at a little lower proof than most distilleries. Most distilleries put whiskey, clear whiskey right off the still at about 120 proof. Peerless puts it at a lower proof. That helps the flavor, that helps the aging. And these whiskeys actually taste a lot older than they are, and just that they're very well balanced and well rounded.
Very well balanced. Very well balanced. Let's give this a shot here.
Yeah.
I'm running out of gas. I'm running out of juice. Oh, I have another lighter here just in case.
He may have a couple extra lighters back there someplace. He might just have a few.
I have.
This Corojo Distillery.
This Corojo is so good.
What separates? What's different from the American Barrel-Aged to the Distillery Edition?
So like I was explaining, the breakdown of the American barrel-aged is American broadleaf on the wrapper, binder, and then the filler has some Pennsylvania broadleaf, American broadleaf, and it's got that 6-year-old Corojo in it, right?
Right.
The Corojo, and this one, for example, it's all Corojo tobacco, right? Wrapper, binder, and filler. Different primings, different agings. Basically, in the filler, you have different percentages of Corojo that have been aged, that have different aging and different parts of the plant, right? The lower the plant, the tobacco is going to be a little bit smoother. The higher you go up on the plant, the tobacco has been, the plant has been affected by the elements a little bit more, so it's got more flavor, more intensity. So that's even in a cigar that has all the same tobacco, the recipe changes a little bit, right? So in the filler, you have different percentages of different parts of the plant, right? And that's a little, that's the recipe that has to be tweaked every year just to keep the consistency, right? The flavor of the cigar the same. And then crops change from year to year, right? If one year rained a little bit more, or if it was a little drier, that'll affect the tobacco a little bit. But that we leave it to the mad scientists and master blenders down in Honduras, which you met Patty, for example. She makes sure that the cigar tastes the same because us at Davidoff, with Camacho is part of the Davidoff, Oettinger Davidoff portfolio. It's quality and consistency, right? That's what we want to translate to our customers. But yeah, basically the difference on this one, it's that, right? The other one is about 95% American tobacco. This one, it's all Honduran tobacco, but it's got different primings and percentages of the primings in the filler, right? But the blast of pepper, the leathery notes, the Corojo has a very, very distinct flavor as well, scent, right? You can smell it. Like I've picked up throughout the years that when I smell a cigar, I'm like, I can probably narrow it down to see if it's a Honduran, because Honduran, Nicaraguans, and Dominicans, they have this scent, right? Yes. And then when you're smoking one that it's all Corojo, for example, this one, you pick it up, right? You smell it. You know what the get to recognize a little bit of that DNA scent
on it. It's just really unmistakable. Right when I lit it up, I was like, I just started thinking about our times in Honduras and just those notes that you don't get on anything else.
Yes, definitely.
This is so nice. And there's the Distillery Edition. It's the binder that goes into the barrels.
No, it's one leaf of the
the
filler. Yeah.
Okay, one leaf of the filler. So it's a pretty good amount of the leaf that's in there.
Yeah, I mean, just if you want to break it down, right? It's not this is not the exact recipe, but let's just say if you have 3 different fillers, right? Okay. Them being the same tobacco but different primings, different cuts of the leaf. Let's just say one of the leaves, which is 33% of that 30. One blend, for example, is that one. That's the one that is aged in the barrel, right? So just gives it
one leaf is in there, has been aged in that barrel. Basically, it's a bourbon barrel that it happens there in Honduras.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. But it's not a flavoring. It's not an infusion or anything.
Not an infusion. It's just that touch.
Let the tobacco sit for 6 months on
this one. Says for 6 months. This was a little longer than the ABA.
Yes. let it sit there for 6 months, have, it just have the standard fermentation process, and then that one leaf is what's taken into the rolling floor and then bunched into the cigar. So there's no infusion, there's no flavoring or anything. It's just a little hint.
Well, that hint really, the hint goes a long way. I mean, I do get that kind of that creamy, especially in the Corojo, I get that creamy, soft bourbon nature that comes through in the bold cigar. I mean, it's really coming through nicely. With this rye, the spice of this rye, the butteriness of this comes together. I'm getting, it's a really nice, it's a very smooth and almost like candied, sort of creamy candied nature that comes together with this beer.
Take a sip and then try to retrohale. I don't know if you're good at retrohaling it. If not, then don't try it. But if you can, there you go. A little bit. I saw that.
Little bit. I got a little there. Now, what happens on the retrohale? I need to probably practice that a little bit. What happens on the retrohale when you take the whiskey in with the cigar? I'll try
in my opinion, is really you get to taste and sense the tobacco at its best, right? When you pass it through your nostrils on the retrohale, and it goes through the back of your palate. So you're getting the taste and then the smell of it, right? And that's one of the best ways of tasting the tobacco, basically. It's some people, it took me a while to master that a little bit, and I don't retrohale with every puff. Maybe every 10 puffs I retrohale once, but I know other people that do it with every puff, right? So it's just up to you.
You really feel it throughout, kind of like when we say, one of the things we say with whiskey tastings, George, is whenever we nose the whiskey, we move it back and forth on our nose.
Yeah, and that's why these are great for that.
Yeah, we want to make sure that aroma goes into both of our nostrils, because our nostrils, as you know, have nostril dominance throughout the day, left, right, the nostril dominance.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also as we nose, like you're doing with the retrohale through the nose, tasting, we kind of shift it. When we nose it, we keep our mouths open. So that openness allows almost what you get on the retrohale, the smoke, to happen with the nosing, with the flavor through the mouth. So and those people watching us, if you're tasting, which I think a lot of the people are having a whiskey, and you nose the whiskey with your mouth closed, you get one note. If you nose the whiskey with your mouth open, you get a whole other note, which is fun. It just shows how much our noses and our mouths
they're
for flavor
and how connected they are, right?
Right.
Somebody's asking if we have a shop in Tampa. Yes, we have a Davidoff of Geneva since 1911 in Tampa, near the airport.
Great shop.
Yes, great, beautiful. Oh, you guys did the kickoff there.
We did the tasting there. Camacho. I had such a great time with Tommy Diadino. Is that how we say his last name? Tommy, the bar manager.
Yes.
Tommy, the bar manager. There's so many great rare whiskeys. In fact, I'll tell you this. I just talked with Tommy the other day. They have their own Peerless single barrel that they picked themselves at your Tampa store. So
that store probably has one of the best selections of spirits that I've seen, right? And I've been around and everything. And it's just outstanding, right? So the store is there. I would call ahead, right? If you're gonna do a curbside pickup or delivery.
Are they doing some curbside pickup right now?
I don't quote me on that. I believe so, but they might be. So I would just call ahead, right?
Yeah, call ahead.
So just I want to throw this out there, and this whole craziness. I'm blessed that to have access to cigars, an infinite amount. But there's some people out there that let's just say their local cigar shop closed down. Yeah, or they're so basically if your cigar shop, local cigar shop is doing curbside pickup or delivery, please support them, right?
Yes,
support them. Guys. Yeah, and this is a perfect time to be enjoying an infinite amount of cigars at home, doing pairings, try it with rye, with rum, with gin, with tequila, whatever, right? This is a perfect time for it. Yeah. Worst case scenario, go to your online outlets, right? Everybody's delivering. Thank God UPS and FedEx are essential in this time that they're still delivering. So, and also our website, davidoffgeneva.com. It's open for business.
You can order them there.
It's open for business. All of our products are listed there. And you also get some goodies, you know, if you reach a certain amount in the order, and then orders over $100, we're offering free shipping. So they'll get to your doorstep. Awesome. Yeah. So
because hey, if you're gonna have if we're gonna do a little tasting during the day of some whiskeys, why not have some cigars too? Try pairing them.
Of course.
Are you seeing more people you think are doing some cigars at home during this whole shutdown during the day?
Yes, I strongly believe so. And then people, I think, are venturing off more into brands that let's just say were not their regular ones,
right?
That were not in their rotation, just because a lot of people are working from home, right? And you have you have time, right? This is the most time a lot of people have had in a very long time.
Just
right?
In a very long time.
In a very long time is the most time you've ever had, right? So yeah, you can. Let's just say you can work from home. You put your slippers on, your shorts and stuff, and light up a cigar. You know, in the mornings you can pair it with coffee. I've done pairings with coffee, chocolate, some foods, obviously different types of spirits and stuff. So now this is the time to just kind of calm down, stay at home, enjoy your cigars, try your pairings, grill at home. I started this contest yesterday, actually, right? And it's called Camacho.
Yeah, tell us about the contest.
Camacho Grill and Chill, right? And actually, I have this stuff here. I have forgotten about it. Camacho Grill and Chill. So basically, share your Camacho experience while you're grilling at home, right? Tag us on Camacho Cigars and use the hashtag Camacho Grill and Chill, right? And then I have the prices for week number 1. So somebody is going to take all these little goodies home. So first we have, and this is obviously bourbon and grill related. The first one is pretty much we have a Camacho ABA Stave Ashtray, which you may recall these, right? So these are actually made from retired bourbon barrels, right? So this is pretty much when you put the top
that aged it.
Yeah. So you put the top here. So this is that part of the barrel. Right? Yeah. We have this other one that is pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen these. This is an oak aging bottle.
Cool.
Right? From NBA. Right? So you put your spirit of choice in here and age it for 24, 48 hours. It's up to you. And then to tie into the grilling experience, we have open this, our Camacho grill set.
Perfect for grilling.
It's perfect. This is not this one. I have one that I use here at home all the time that I'm grilling. They're great. It's an amazing quality. I haven't had to change anything, and I think I've used them for about almost 2 years now. So it's great. So that's what we're doing. I'm gonna pick a winner on Wednesday night next week.
Nice.
Right, and then somebody's gonna take all this stuff home, and then the following week I have another set of goodies, and then the following week I have another set of goodies.
Just more and more goodies.
Yeah, so
they need to take a picture of them grilling with a cigar.
Take a picture of your grilling experience smoking a Camacho cigar. Right, doesn't matter what it is that you're grilling. Just take the picture, share it with us, tag us, Camacho Cigars at Camacho Cigars, and use the hashtag Camacho Grill and Chill. That way I can track it. And pick a winner.
And you've already got, I bet, some great photos.
Hey, I've had a few. I just started it last night, so I said I wanted to do it yesterday so that people have today, they have the weekend. Well, today I don't really think there's gonna be a lot of grilling going on because it's Good Friday. But yeah, you guys have the weekend to run
take
with
some
it.
Pictures, have some smokes. I have one of these. This is a barrel stave as well that fits several cigars.
That is great, man. That's a when you do tastings.
I had one of those ready. That's one of the we did those. We feature this at tasting. Sometimes we can put several cigars, and again, it's that barrel stave. So you actually have a piece of the whole history of this cigar, because that's what it is. It's the history of this cigar from the time that it went in that barrel to the time it's in your hand. Now you're having a whiskey with it. I'm loving this Distillery Edition. This is so nice with the rye. I like the smooth, creamy nature on this.
It's very smooth. I have to pour myself a little bit more.
So nice. No, this is so good.
This is great. The weather.
I think a lot of people down below are trying some. Continue to tell us what you're smoking and drinking down below, and we just we'd love to hear that on our quarantine.
Yeah,
drinking
good.
team series. We're going to have. We have. If you go to bourbonblog.com, we have our guests for the next week. We have a Savage and Cook coming up tomorrow night. We have a Broadway actor who's going to be tasting some whiskey with us on Sunday. Every night of the quarantine, we're going to be doing a different great guest like George. So keep on coming back.
So you're going live every night, huh?
Live every night on Instagram.
That is awesome, man.
So
that's awesome. You're a busy man now.
It's fun.
That's awesome, man.
We've had a lot of fun doing this, trying something new and tasty every night. And all week long, I was like, can't wait till Friday because then I get to have a good smoke and a drink with my good buddy George. And this is so much fun. Which one do we want to try next, George? Do we want to do the other distillery? Or do we want to do the rum? Which one do you want to do next?
Let's do, and then you'll be able to pick up more of the barrel aging scent in the Connecticut, right?
Connecticut.
We should have the Connecticut, yeah.
Let's do some Connecticut. And again, the original Camacho Connecticut is such a great cigar, great, approachable, especially for those maybe getting into cigars, right?
It's a beginners, right? But
always a good standard and just so nice to have in your cigar collection.
Yeah, and then this one, it's our best-selling Camacho, right? The Connecticut line in general, right? And then in there you have your Connecticut, just standard formats, right? Cylinders. And then you have our box press, right? We have the box press. We have them in the box press tubos. And then we have the Distillery Connecticut. Now, the Distillery Connecticut only comes in the Toro size. That's the other thing that I forgot to mention. So this Distillery Edition only comes in Toro size, right? Because
only Toro, but this
only
is the
Toro
Distillery Edition. And you've done sort of a similar thing with this one that you did with the Corojo.
Basically, yeah. So it's the same blend as core, right? And it's like Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper. You have some Corojo binder, and then the filler you have Generoso and Alemán Ligero, and a little bit of that Corojo that has been aged in the barrels for 6 months, right? So it's the same concept as the standard Corojo. Let me click this one.
This is so nice, and again, you get that little hint of the bourbon on there, comes through nicely.
Yeah, when you smell it, this one, obviously because of the wrapper, for example, right? Because the barrel aged tobacco is in the center, basically, right?
Right.
But it just kind of like comes out through the wrapper a little bit. So you can, once you get it out of the cellophane, and you get that first whiff. This one is the one that I think you can smell it the most. Just the bourbon, the liquors, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, this one somebody's asking. Yes, this is definitely a beginner cigar. Between this one and our Criollo would be the two, beginners Camacho, right? I like to call this one a Connecticut with balls, basically.
Right.
Because it does have a nice creamy wrapper, but what's under the hood is what makes that that experience unforgettable. And so it's got a nice light wrapper, but what's on the binder and the filler, it's got some kick to it. So it's a nice combination, but definitely this could be a morning cigar.
Just like a great
very well
cocktail.
balanced.
It's well balanced, and that Distillery Edition really kicks it up with that whiskey. I'm going to continue on. I think, George, we'll continue. We did the bourbon with the first couple, or the first one. Let's stick with the rye whiskey for this one too. Let's see what the rye whiskey does for this as well.
Let's see. I'm liking that rye.
Oh yeah,
it's so good.
Take a little sip of the rye here.
What happened to the shellback? Well, the shellback was a limited edition, so we did about I believe that run was 1,500 boxes or 1,800 boxes. And that was part of the Brotherhood series, right? So we had Check 6, Shellback, and then we had a Double Shock. So those were limited runs that just I'm sure they're still out there if you can find them, but we're not producing anymore. Those were just limited editions.
Right.
Somebody was.
And someone did ask, how widely available is the Peerless? It is in a large number of states, available online as well. Available at a lot of fine liquor stores. I know the bourbon is a little more difficult to find, but I'm seeing it more and more places. Maybe the folks at Peerless that are watching can speak to that, but I know you can find it in major markets and also smaller markets as well. And definitely go online and look for it and find it, because it is really spectacular, both the bourbon and the rye whiskey, and the single barrels they do at the distillery. And single barrels you'll find at great places like Davidoff of Geneva and Tampa.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think somebody was asking about triple. I mean, we introduced in 2009, correct? So this I forgot. So the Camacho Connecticut was the first venture between Camacho and Davidoff, right? And for example, on this one, Hanky Kellner had a lot to do with the blend of this one in particular, and subsequently, that is our best-selling cigar. Yeah, by far, the Camacho Connecticut. It's our best.
Well, I love the original Connecticut. That this little hint of that bourbon really comes through. That creaminess, that little bit of spice comes through, a little bit of earth.
We made this one very creamy as well, and we made this one basically for pairing experiences, right? And it just it just pairs so well with bourbon or rye, just because of that. Like I said, it's got the spark, and you're adding the fuel to it basically, and the fire, right?
It's you're adding that. Yeah. It becomes the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any favorite when it comes to any of your cigars? Any favorite pairings that you've done with, whether it's whiskey or even with food? Do you have a favorite pairing that you like to sit down with a meal and have a particular one of your cigars with a
I don't know.
dish?
I don't know with the meal. I'm one of those guys that yes, I have attended, steak dinners where you're smoking and drinking and eating your steak and stuff. I am not a huge fan of that scenario, right? When I eat, right? But I do love to, and then when I eat, I don't like to have much smoke around. If the occasion obviously needs it, then sure. But I like to pair them with chocolates.
Oh wow!
With chocolates, yes. And
what kind of chocolate? Which cigar?
It depends. Like for example, this one, it would be probably with a milk chocolate, right? Because you want something that balances.
Okay.
But definitely the Corojo, or actually I haven't tried the ABA with chocolate, but the Corojo, the regular Corojo, or even the distillery with dark chocolate, right? Let's just say some 70% dark chocolate, just a little bit, right? Get your palate, right? And then just take a good puff and then try to retrohale. That little experience, it's very notable, the change in flavor, right? Then the experience it's great, right? But yeah, chocolate. What else? I love it with some coffee as well.
Oh yeah, and those coffees that we had in Honduras were incredible with these cigars too. Right,
you got to try some Honduran. So Honduras export. So they're big in textiles, right? Big in coffee. Also, cigars. It's a big industry down there. But coffee and bananas, for example. But coffee, it's a big one. There's a lot of very, very, very good Honduran coffee that once they brew it, you don't even have to put any sugar or anything. And those are the ones that you got to try over there.
So nice. Those were so good. And the food, if you go to Camp Camacho, the food
the food.
They're in that kitchen. I mean, they just made some amazing meals for us. And I even said, hey, I'm a big fan of some special salsas, and the ladies there made some great salsas for us. Just an amazing team.
Do you remember the anafres, which is the little clay thing, basically with fire?
What's in that? Because that was magical.
So it's basically refried beans, right? So they make the beans, and then we have them in different types. But the one that I for example like is just like the refried beans, Honduran cheese, and like some sausage in there. And then with the tortilla chips, oh my God, that is everybody that goes down there loves that, loves that.
Those were so great, and I'll say this: the Honduran beers are amazing too. I was really amazed, which you can't find too many places in the U.S. Some of those.
No, exactly. We had some Salvavidas, we had some Imperials, and now we're even adding some Toña, some Nicaraguan beer in there in our little rotation, yes, because we've had some of the guests that have gone to Nicaragua and they love that Toña, so that's we're adding it to the mix. You know, oh, there's
Those
somebody
are,
there. There's somebody
someone
there
says,
saying,
Viva Danli.
yeah, Viva Danli. Cheers.
Now, you're from where originally are you from, whereabouts in Honduras then are you from?
No, so
Or
interesting story.
Remind us where.
Yeah, so I am French Honduran, but just quick, so I'm French Honduran, born in Miami, but when I was born, my family, we went down back to Honduras when I was probably a few months old, and I lived in Honduras until I was 15 years old. My mother was from Honduras, and my father is French. You know, he's still around. My mother passed away, but yeah, so I'm French Honduran. It's a combination, right? And I moved back to the U.S. in the year 2000. So but my city, it's far from Danli. It's man, it's a good 6-hour drive from Danli to San Pedro Sula, which is my city, right? Which is the industrial capital of Honduras. You know,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Such a beautiful country, and just being there, surrounded by the mountains, the trees. I mean, just
Danli
looking
is
out,
beautiful.
just having that. You know, I still remember, George, that first night in the class with you and Manuel, and just trying those different cigars that were not completely 100% blended, just to really get the notes on each of those tobaccos. I can still remember looking at those mountains, watching the sunset, just thinking, this is just such a magical place.
And it's a magical place, right? And everybody that gets to go down there gets to experience it, and it's just it's outstanding, you know. And it's called Ciudad de las Colinas, right? Which is you're pretty much in city of the hills, basically. So if you notice, it's basically in the center, right, and then surrounded by hills, right? And so it's we didn't get to go up to the cross. But if you ever go back with us to Honduras, did we? No, we didn't go up to the cross.
Not on that trip.
The cross, wow, man! You're up there in the cross. The sunset, it's outstanding. You're up in this hill that's in the middle of the city. It's outstanding, man. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
George, even you're wearing your Camp Camacho shirt. I see that.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then these Honduran fabrics. So we had to make some of these in Honduras, and it's just, you know, the quality of Honduran the fabric is just outstanding, right? It's one of the big. So Honduras is a big exporter of fabrics of big brands, like Nike has factories down there, Polo has factories down there. So it's you know, it's very big in that. So this is one of those down there.
Well, and just tasting for me, tasting the Honduran food, you know, the beers, the tobacco, all together, just that cultural experience.
And the people are so nice.
And those people are so committed and dedicated, just going in and just seeing how much they love what they do, being right there next to the factory. It was just such a powerful experience.
Yeah, and then obviously you saw the house, the compound, you know, it's outstanding, right? That house, it was built for this, right? I know that there's, you know, a couple other tours out there, but I've had some guests, I'm not gonna mention, but I've had some guests that have come to our compound, and they're very impressed with what we've done down there, which it was exactly the idea when we're building the factory, right? It's outstanding, man. What a great experience, you know.
Oh, it's so much fun, and everywhere you go, George brings along this really nice kind of trunk of cigars, so you can have a cigar no matter where you go. What do you call that? Yeah. Is it like a trunk of cigars?
The strong box. It's called the strong box. The Camacho strong box. Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know, I think I'll have cigars. I'm doing this, and then you grab one and you just have a good time. I have my Camacho lighter, of course, right here that I've been lighting up with tonight. Nice. So many great folks. They say they would love to come down. To the Camp Camacho, and they can learn about that on the Camacho website?
I think it would be best to go on our Instagram, right? We have one of our highlights that is dedicated for Camp Camacho. You'll get a good idea of what goes on down there. And also throughout our wall, our grid, we have some videos of the camp, right? We do take a lot of pictures down there, but you should share those with our guests, and then they share them as you know, it is up to them. I still have is that since this whole thing started, we've been so into social and everything that I do have a couple of the trips that we took great pictures that I'll be sharing those pictures up on Instagram soon. But yeah, unfortunately, like I said, we'll try to come back up and create and just get the camp going again in next year. Hopefully we are, we're able to do something prior to that, but if not, for sure next year, probably the last week of January, and then the camp lasts for a good 3 months. So, but we have plenty of time. We'll share some information as to how to come back, and we still have to take back the 4 groups that we were supposed to. So I don't know. It's gonna be a very busy 2021, early 2021.
Until then, keep on smoking the Camachos, and thanks for all those folks rejoining us. Let's go for the NBA now that we've had some great Peerless whiskey with those. Again, check out the Distillery Edition.
I'm gonna owe you the NBA because I don't have that one with me here.
Okay, what are you gonna try? You can try something with the rum. I have the NBA. What are you gonna try with the rum?
I'll do the
dealer's
Ecuador.
choice.
And I know there's gonna be a lot of Ecuador lovers, right? This is a Habana 2000 Ecuadorian wrapper. We have some Brazilian Matafina binder, and then the filler is combination of some different tobaccos. So let's see.
Very nice.
And it does have that Corojo in there.
Just are joining us, if you've tried the Camacho or any of these whiskeys, rums, tell us down below what you're trying. If you have any questions for George, some great questions, great folks joining us. And again, we're doing this every night during the quarantine here on Bourbon Belongs Instagram. Make sure you follow George and the Camacho gang there on the Camacho. What's your just at Camacho Cigars? At
Camacho Cigars. And if you want to, win some of the goodies that I showed earlier, make sure to tag us, a Camacho Cigars, and use the hashtag Camacho Grill and Chill, right? So I'll be giving some good things out this coming week, and then I have some other goodies built up for the next few weeks. So Camacho Grill and Chill. Send us your picture of your grilling experience while smoking a Camacho cigar, and then we'll make sure we pick the best.
What have you been grilling out since the quarantine?
I don't know, probably like a good 30 pounds of meat by now. Yeah, and so I have my girl with which is 8.5 months pregnant. So we're
congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We're having a baby boy. So
so do you have a name picked out?
Sebastian. Yeah,
Sebastian
Rami. Yeah. So basically, it's like every day. We've never had that many. We've never had so much issues into like, okay, what are we gonna eat today? Because we're at home. So we've been using the grills. So I have a big green egg and a Weber that we've been using, back and forth almost every day. So now we're trying to come up with new recipes of things to try and eat. But I've been grilling from ribs to chickens, and then all the different cuts of steaks. I need to get a little adapter for to do some fish and salmon, because that actually we cook inside in the kitchen, but because we've tried it. But I've found some recipes to how to make some good salmon, for example, in the big green egg. But I'm missing a little adapter that I gotta get. But yeah, the big green eggs, man. That's what a product that these guys are selling. What a product.
That's good. So definitely do the hashtag Camacho Grill and Chill.
Yeah.
Enter that contest. Let everybody know right now we're live. And I'm tasting. What kind of rum are you having there?
You know what? So I'm still having the Peerless, but I have. Oh man, I wish I had the NBA. I didn't have it, but right now, since I'm smoking the Ecuador, I'm gonna have some. Both. I'm gonna have some Brugal Leyenda.
Brugal, great stuff. Nice.
And then the Leyenda, we were schooled by the ambassador of Leyenda, which happens to be a member of the family down in Dominican Republic a couple months ago when I went. And then this one is very limited, right? I was only able to find it in duty free in Dominican Republic. And it's what a great rum.
Wow. Very
smooth, very, very, very. Have you had this one in particular?
Yes, so nice.
The Leyenda?
Yes.
This one is very good. Let me see.
And I'm having the Brugal XO, the 20th anniversary Again, starting off in Barbados, then finished in Cognac, France. And I'm trying the NBA Nicaugraga Barrel-Aged. Very similar to the American Barrel-Aged, except it goes into a used, and it's a pretty old rum barrel it goes into, isn't it?
Actually, yeah. So those, and that one I can disclose actually which barrels we use because we handpicked them. So that one we use barrels at least 25 years old, which is what they use for their Flor de Caña 25, right? And I have.
So in some ways we could say this cigar, tobacco 5 years old, the aging 5-6 months, and then the barrel 25 years. There's almost a process of over 20 years that went into making the flavor of this cigar.
Exactly, the process, right? So
when you think about the history
somebody else, somebody else did the 25-year aging on that tobacco on that barrel, and then they we got our hands in them and age our cigars in there. So I have some Flor de Caña 18 here, which I think
nice
it pairs delicious with the NBA, but I brought all the boxes, but I didn't bring any BA. So I'm smoking right now the Distillery Ecuador, which is an amazing cigar with the Brugal Leyenda.
What kind of flavors are you getting with those two combinations? So
this one's really very floral, right? Some earthy notes, some pepper as well because of some of the tobaccos, but very floral, citrus, floral and citrus. I let me see if I can come up with another flavor profile to it. But very, very floral, very it's a nice medium to full bodied. Then again, I do smoke a lot of cigars every day, right? Especially now, like I mentioned, everybody's smoking cigars left and right. Yeah. So I switch from some Davidoff 1000 series in the mornings to some Camacho in the afternoon, and then some Avo and stuff. But yeah, so this one's a nice medium to full body to me. Now, to somebody that's used to smoking, let's just say Connecticut's all the time, this one's gonna be a little bit more on the fuller side, right? But this is a nice medium to full body to me.
Very nice. And on this particular pairing with the Nicaugraga Barrel-Aged, that nice sweet, almost honey nature you get that comes through that tobacco from the NBA. Paired with this Plantation XO, I get a really nice, almost creme brulee nature to this, sweet, caramelized, just very beautiful, delicate sugars. The flavor combination on that smoke becomes just like dessert-like. It's really nice.
This combination here as well, for those of you that have tried the Leyenda, this one has got like a very honey-like aftertaste.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah, it's delicious. This right here is it's dessert.
It's a good way to at the end of a meal to have a good smoke and a little rum. Someone down below said, "What is your?" I'm sure this is going to be a really tough question for you. Of all the Camachos, do you have a favorite that's like? Is it all mood driven, or do you say like this one's kind of my favorite ever? Or?
Mood driven and seasonal, right? I've been fortunate enough to try pretty much all the Camachos out there, right? Even pre-revamping of the brand, because I used to be in retail before since 2004. So I used to sell the brand before I even started working with Davidoff, before it even got purchased by Davidoff. But I think a hidden gem that we have that is outrageous, and actually Eddie just mentioned just a little while ago, is the Triple Maduro, right?
Yeah,
Triple Maduro is outstanding. This week I've probably had about 8 of them in the Figurado, which is torpedo format. And that's the one that I really love. Now, just the breakdown. First, ABA, right? An ABA in the Torpedo Largo. I love it. If not, Toro. Then Triple Maduro, right? Figurado. If not, then Robusto. We used to make it in a Corona size, the Triple Maduro, which was delicious. Then I have Corojo, okay, and then the other two it's a battle between Ecuador and Connecticut, right? But I tend to go more towards the Connecticut and then the Ecuador, and then we've had obviously the Liberties, and then the Liberties that we've had are mostly Corojo blends, which are limited editions. It's basically the best Corojo tobacco that was sorted, fermented, and aged, right? And that's what we have in the vault, which is the second floor of the factory that you remember,
Right.
all the
Right.
the bales and everything. There, that's pretty much. So we picked the best for the Liberties, but the Liberties, the blend changes because we changed the recipe, basically the primings and the percentage of tobacco, blah blah blah, and that's why those are limited edition. So no Liberty has the same blend as the Liberty from the last year, right? And then this year, I think, is our 18th installment of that one. So it's been going on for 18 years, right? So all different Liberties. So those I don't love all of them, but there's some of them that will go and fluctuate in that little top 5, right? But it's ABA, Triple Maduro, Corojo, right? And the Corojo could be either Corojo, just the regular, or the distillery.
Such a great line, and a brand that dates back to 1962. I mean, these cigars have a real history, and every time we smoke them, we really appreciate the history.
Yeah, it was started by a man by the name of Simon Camacho, right? In 1962, he opened up his factory in Miami, right? And that's when Camacho got started in Miami back in 1962. Now, the connection with Corojo happened in the year 2000, I would say, when it was introduced to the U.S. market as the bold cigar, right? Prior to that, even throughout the cigar boom, all the cigars that were the majority of the cigars that were consumed were mild to medium cigars. So Camacho came in the year 2000 with this bold Corojo tobacco, and with that very strong Camacho name, and then it launched in the year 2000. So that's where when the boldness started.
My wife just made me an old fashioned, so I'm trying a little of the old fashioned now with the Camacho, and just the way that the cocktails really, with a little of that orange, a little of that cocktail essence, elevate these cigars. The different kinds of pairings. We have complementary, we have accentuating, we have contrasting. But I think most of these pairings with the Camacho have been very accentuating to really elevate the flavors, both in the cocktail and in the cigar. And a Camacho really does that like no other cigar, and I really appreciate it.
No, and then the combination, you get to exploit basically all the flavor profile of the tobacco itself, right? And then for example, in the Camacho Corojo, that it's a puro, you get to kind of like take advantage of all the flavors from the Corojo. And then you have like this one, for example, which is the Ecuador, that has all the different types of, so the blend is very complex. So with the pairing, it triggers some notes and some, it triggers parts of your palate. And then once you, with the spirit and the cigar, the combination, it works, right? And then
it really does.
Every pairing, it's a very personal experience because everybody's palate is a little different, right? So you and I may be liking something because we've had it before, but to other people, very personal thing. And then this one breaks a lot of barriers, right? Because not too far ago, when we could all hang out in a cigar lounge, and you had doctors, you had millionaires, and you had blue collar folks that sit down and they talk about a cigar. So that breaks all the barriers, all the society barriers in terms of like, oh my God, who has money, who can afford this from, blah blah blah, whatever. Once you come in and smoke a cigar, you can talk about the flavor profile, which that comes down to just as an individual, right? So it's a very unique thing to share, just because it's such a personal thing, right? Like and a lot of things affect it, right? Like what you've had for lunch and the things that have gone through your palate in that day. That's why a cigar, if you don't like it the first time, I would recommend that you give it at least 3 times a try, so that to give the cigar or that blend in particular a good chance. Yes.
What was the first cigar you ever had? Do you remember what the first cigar you ever had was?
It's funny. Somebody asked me that the other day, and it's not it's not a
because I'm trying to remember the first bourbon. It may be tough for me.
It's not a marketing stunt or anything. So my father has always smoked cigars since as far as I can remember, right? So he's been for 55 years. I'm 30, almost 35. So I grew up with cigars in the house. Now, he was a diplomat. He had nothing to do with the tobacco business, but he always smoked cigars. Like in San Pedro Sula, my city, everybody knows him for back in the day running around a park with a big double Corona in his mouth, pre-lit, right? So he would run, do his jog with a cigar, and then after he finished, he would light it up. But so I grew up with cigars, right? So it always called my attention, the cigars and the smell and everything. And I grew up building little houses with the extra boxes, which back in the day he would smoke. And I remember going into this old building, and we would go into this vault. Later on in life, I figured out that this cigar shop took over an old bank, and then they were using their vault as a humidor, right? But as a little kid, you're like, oh my God, I'm going into the vault to get cigars. Like it's just wow. But then I moved to the U.S. when I was 15, and I for a little while I was working in my sister's store, jewelry shop, and then right next to it there was a cigar shop, right? So right before I turned 18, I wasn't fully legal then to work in a cigar shop, but it was only a few months, right? And I started, but prior to that, just because my sister and I have been involved in the just having cigars in our lives, she would go always to Art Basel, right? Art Basel in Miami, right? And now that I worked with the company, I knew exactly where those cigars were coming from, but she would get me at least one or two freshly rolled Davidoffs. And this is when I was probably 16 years old that she was like, oh my God, yeah. So she had taken pictures and stuff. It's like, oh, I went to Art Basel, and then they have this brand, Davidoff, blah, blah, blah. And there was this guy rolling cigars. So I got you two. I wanted to get you more, but they were only allowing me to get two, blah, blah, blah. And then, so basically the first real cigar that I had, as a teenager, 16, aside from getting all the secondhand smoke from my father my entire life, it was a Davidoff. Now I can't tell you which Davidoff it was, but I know it was one of the ones that they rolled back in the day at the Davidoff booth, basically in the convention center in Miami Beach. And later on, ironically, I joined the company, and I was able to help out with run of show of Art Basel. I'm like, and when that thing started, it clicked. I'm like, wow, this is so ironic. These are some of the first cigars I've ever had.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes
and now I'm working for the company. I'm helping run this show. And then the guy that is rolling the cigar is the same guy that we have brought for the past, X amount of years. So most likely that is the same guy that rolled my cigar. I can't recall his name right now. I remember his face, but I can't recall his name. Klaus Kellner, my counterpart, would definitely be able to tell me that. But so and now we're doing that, and it's like, oh my God, this is so ironic. So yeah, most likely, not to be cliche or anything, but most likely one of my first cigars, like real cigars that I enjoyed sitting down with my other buddies and my sister and stuff, was a Davidoff. Freshly rolled from the convention center in Miami Beach during Art Basel, which is in December. Right. It tied very well because it was the holidays, the drinking going on, even though I was underage. But hey, we're Latin, right? There is no, that I know of, there is no Latin kid that waits until he's 21 to drink, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
And I'm only trying to remember my first bourbon, but that may be even tougher. But obviously in Kentucky we get to enjoy those.
Now, Tom, where are you? Refresh my memory. You're originally from?
Right on the border of Indiana, Kentucky. So one of my first spirits was Armagnac when I traveled to France when I was 16.
I have a bottle
one that I can remember.
that I purchased in Montpellier. Yes.
Montpellier,
Armagnac.
Yes. But a lot of my relatives drinking bourbon. I mean, I saw those throughout my life, and I'm trying to remember my first cigar. It's been a little while. I know I experimented with those, buying a variety when we could at tobacco shops and trying a bunch in one night, just like we're doing tonight. So this is great. It's so good to see you, man. And it's so nice to have so many friends from Avo. I saw Avo joining us earlier, and so many great friends like Eddie joining us. And you know, I think that this is just a really great time for us all to remember, whether it's George and I or just friends that you guys are watching.
Of course, man.
You
This
know,
is
just have a cigar and a whiskey and a rum or a cocktail with your friends on Zoom or Instagram.
And I've noticed that some people have a fear of being online, right, and camera and just being live, right? And I think that this has broken a lot of barriers of people just going live and doing these things. And once you do it a few times, it's amazing, you know, and you really start sharing information that is valuable for you know, for the folks that are watching us.
Right.
You know, what are you doing there?
Absolutely.
You're changing your setup.
We're going to show you all the stuff, great stuff we have here, George. We have the big Camacho ashtray here. Let's take a look at that here. Big Camacho ashtray right there.
Oh, I have that same one right now.
Yes. Big Camacho ashtray.
Yes.
We have our great cigars and cheers, man. Really good seeing you tonight. And cheers to the gang. I mean, one of the great things, I'll say this too, George, I mean, I know a lot of ambassadors in whiskey, in spirits, in cigars. George is one of the most passionate people about what he ambassadors because he loves it so much. And it just means so much to see you tonight and talk about cigars with you. You're a great ambassador for the industry. And we appreciate the team there, Dylan and everybody there. Just tell them we all said hello, and we'll be hoping to see them soon when this whole thing is over.
Yeah, man, definitely. You know, we can, you know, there's a lot of things we can work on, you know, in the near future, man. And thank you for having me. This was, you know, very entertaining. We got to share a couple of our stories, or a little bit of our knowledge on either side of the fence, you know. And I think people enjoyed it, man. This was good.
Absolutely. And our buddy Dave Gurton, the marketing guy, said that if he was here, he would sing Latin Thunder to you.
Latin Thunder. Oh my God.
That's one of your nicknames. That's one of your nicknames, right?
No, that is my nickname, Latin Thunder. And then earlier in the chat, in the live stream, there's even Eddie and a couple of other friends were like, oh, Latin Thunder, blah blah blah. Yes, that has been my nickname for the last 7 years. You're right, in the industry. So I'm Latin Thunder. And now I just go with it. You know, I love that. At the beginning, I was like, oh my God, Latin Thunder, blah, 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 whatever. But now it's just like, yeah, why not embrace it? You know what I mean? I love it. So right now it's just, and even my shirts, I was looking for one of them, but I just couldn't find it. So I had my Dickies shirts when I would do my tours, and I was going to wear that one, but this is the easiest one to come with. But anyway, Latin Thunder is my nickname, and I embrace it. I love it.
It's great to see you, George. And this video will be up for 24 hours on Instagram on our Bourbon Blog channel. Make sure you follow Camacho Cigars. Make sure you check out their website and also the hashtag Camacho Grill and Chill, right?
Camacho Grill and Chill. Yes, I'll be sharing this you know, live stream as well on our site, you know, for the next 24 hours. And yeah, so basically the contest is Camacho Grill and Chill. Post your picture of your grilling experience while you're smoking a Camacho cigar, and we'll be giving away you know, a few goodies. Just, you know, just grill set, all right, Stave ashtray, right, and then a oak aging bottle. All right, so that's for week number 1. So somebody's gonna take all this stuff home, and then for the next couple of weeks, I don't want to spoil it, I got some other goodies as well. So that's Camacho Grill and Chill. Tag it. I'll be picking the winner next Wednesday night, and hopefully someone's gonna take all this stuff home and actually enjoy it. You know, there's some good stuff out here.
Where can we find where people won that? Where we see that on Camacho's Instagram?
On the Instagram, and then I share it also to Facebook. Yeah,
Facebook. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So and then if somebody has any questions about Camacho, I'm always available, right? So it's always on my phone. I'm running the social media for Camacho. Also, I do it for Avo as well. If somebody has any questions for Avo, make sure you go into the Avo Cigar Instagram page and ask your questions about Avo as well. But anything Camacho, just shoot me a DM, and I'll be answering in your questions.
Thank you so much, George. We really appreciate it. And we're going to take this video at some point in the next few days. We'll have it up on our YouTube. People can enjoy that permanently. And Thanks, man. Cheers to you,
Awesome,
George.
man. Hey, cheers, my man.
And all the best to your lady as well. Congratulations on
Yes. Yes. Sebastian is coming real soon.
You have a good night. Be
You
safe
too,
during the
brother.
quarantine.
Thank you for having
Good to
me,
see you,
man.
buddy.
All
Thank
right,
you.
brother. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.